Okay, sorry about that. Good morning. Good morning. I have a Loki starting the day on my lap, so I am kind of been distracted and struggling. Yeah, you're starting it, aren't you? You decided to climb up early today. Okay, I'll do them so I don't have to tangle with you. Yeah. Okay. That can go over there because we don't want that up there. Okay, let's get that over there. That's the streaming. One of them days. Restream bot refuses to work, so I can't get YouTube chat working because why would that be helpful? Yep, it's definitely not working. Okay, let's see if he'll come back online. Streaming to YouTube and to Twitch at the same time when you don't have an active chat is really not fun. Start the event. Yeah. Frustrating. Oh well, it is what it is. Okay, so today we have the date and time right now is just a an idea to show that we can show that thing. If the sprint started, I'm not sure I want to show the start date, but or do I want to say started and expected completion or progress? There's all sorts of other things I could do there. So we'll see that's done. He says as he has to sign back in. With the tasks, getting sprint started. There we go. Let's move that. Okay, so oh, say it is Monday, October 28th. I almost got there. I'm only a day late. My burn down chart's going to look bad. Right, bud? So, what's next? Well, I think enriching this board is probably worthwhile doing, right? Um, getting the board to be able to display the details is probably useful. Um, showing who the hold on. Let's think through this. Let's think through this a bit. Sprints, ideas. Ideas, sprints. Okay, so what do we want here? We want to not have a 40+ pound dog sat on my lap, curled up. Yeah, I know. That's you. Hi, Full Stumble. How you doing? Okay. But I can't support you sat there. You okay? Okay. Writing blog posts. Nice. Nice. keep thinking I should do some stuff like that. Actually, one of the things that dawned on me the other day is it might be useful for me to write up how I get the eventing components working, or at least create a video of some form. Because I realized that as I was going through it, I was going through it with Dota and Mojo. And I realized that what I consider simple in there isn't actually that simple. There's a lot of moving parts, and even the stuff I did yesterday, where the events were triggering further actions and which were triggering further events. Like the idea that the system is, you know, reacting to behavior, is probably simpler in my mind than it is in others. And yeah, so maybe doing something that I don't think a write up would really work because it's a lot of stuff, a lot of code, but maybe a video. So yeah, I'll have to figure out how to gauge interest in that one. But you're writing blog posts on anything? Well, you're writing it on something interesting because you are writing a blog post. I gotta figure out Loki. Um, we can't do this, but it's really not good for my back, right? Okay. So on sprints, I want to be able to assign one many users. Um, that yeah, one or more. Let's just not try and use annotations. One or more users. I want to see who is assigned. And to um, um, I kind of want an opinion on this. If anyone's watching who has a thought on this, what I'm considering is, even though these tasks, right now I'm using these tasks and I'm kind of outlining them as like lists into themselves, because these will display as markdown, right? But oh, but what I'm thinking is, would it be better? Uh, it seems too granular to task out the task. Like the task is meant to be a piece of work, but then I'm using them as kind of task lists themselves. So it's kind of like, okay, well, maybe it's a checklist. Um, yeah, yeah, you're making this awkward, bud. So what do I do? The alignment of all this is all odd as well. Sprint is available. Testing sprint flow. Complete the sprint flow. Yes. Sprint is available. So I'm trying to like, we're at the point where there's so many different things to do, so many little pieces that need doing, and so many big pieces that need doing, that I'm kind of figuring out what I want to do. Now, let's focus on the workability. Pointing doesn't matter right now, right? Pointing is not going to help me because as a solo developer, pointing stories doesn't make sense. A solo developer working on this doesn't make sense. Like I might as well throw out time estimates because you know they are as accurate, especially as I'm making decisions on the fly because I'm in control of that. See, um, and commitments. One of the things I'm contemplating is providing the facility to kind of set your method of estimation and focus the cards on like pointing or time or whatever. Punishments for team not finishing in time. Yeah. Docking story points you don't finish early. Next time you have to do more with less points. Uh, Morning, Delta. The estimates given by the boss. Is there any other way? No, no, I mean, it's. I make a decent meme. I'm sat so far back, by the way, because Loki's sat right in between me and the keyboard here. I could definitely do it faster. So I think early on, we determined that multiple people could be assigned to a task. So that's going to be a thing. Assignment of who. That's going to be interesting because we don't have a control for that yet. So that's an interesting one. Um, um, so task edit boards. Yeah, took it. See how. Let's see who is assigned. Uh, Interesting. The main user of Jira. This software is product or whoever is managing the product. Could also be a project manager. They're the customer is what I'm trying to say. The main user of Jira is product or whoever is managing the product. Could also be. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, the what I'm trying to do, what I want to do, is not take this area of the application shouldn't go much beyond tracking the work, right, for the team. The planning is, yeah. Why am I putting my task into Jira? Is it also visibility? So that's the only reason. Accounting and visibility. Okay, so we're going to mark that as completed. Interesting. If I mark that planning item as completed, Future ideas. If planning item is completed, then all it's associated are locked. So again, it's a pain you just you want to add on remove my contribution to a project. We'll do DLC. You can pay us under the table to remove you from the project so that it was you were never here. What a business model. You pay us to change your company's data so that it looks like you were never associated with the project. That's awesome. Um, hilariously, not humorously, hilarious. When I'm putting tasks into Jira, so yeah, the entire purpose of the project is or the entire purpose of tools like Jira is purely for um, tracking. Yeah, yeah. It's sad that we get ahead that way, but yeah, it happens all too much. My problem is I come up with ideas and don't want to implement them because implementation is energy, and energy is wasted on a company that doesn't want to necessarily listen to your ideas. So I open my mouth, other people execute the ideas, and they work for them, and they get the credit. But yeah, so yeah, go to task, go to board. Yes, Loki, I know. Um, so then my idea is the actual execute on saving hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I wonder if I could take any credit. Ideas are usually ignored, which is probably why it's it's fun to come in here and do those. Yeah, but again, if you're doing a job and you're being paid well for the job, put the energy in that the company, you know, uh, it's not all about money. Um, but it has meant that I'm less inclined to work 20-hour days or work every single hour intended because someone wants some crazy deadlines. I'd rather miss a deadline and say, look, I just didn't have the chance to do it, or I can't do it. I'm not sure what's required, etc. Than I would say, well, I haven't slept for 2 days, but yeah, the metrics are bad, and then be like, oh well, okay, because I don't benefit anybody else by driving myself into the ground. So I will provide effort and energy on the things that I feel that can make that difference. Um, remove the metric that costs $8,000 per month. No one, no. Yeah. So yeah, like metrics and management love numbers, right? Management love visibility, and that's why I'm trying to separate them. The work here so that the developer can get on with developing without the worry of the management visibility, right? All this is the Jira view, right? This is the hey, everything's nice. Tasks is just is the actual work to do, the actual implementation, the code, the servers, everything like that. Team missed the deadline. then worked hard to ship it. No, that's I mentioned a team. I'm a big believer in succeed together, fail together, and I don't like people kicking other people under the bus. I don't like, oh well, that person didn't do the job. I hate doing it. Um, it's something I'm very much against where possible. Um, so um, yeah, if a team gets like that, that's an immediate, you know, I'll be looking elsewhere. Wow. I am I'm happy to be sarcastic. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah. So feel at this point you are going to if you are saying something and you are very very serious about it, you are going to have to preface it with um some sort of tag to say, okay, this is 100% real. Because if it seems slightly sarcastic, I take it as sarcasm. It's a safe bet rather than taking everything seriously. And again, like we all have different experiences. Um, but similar experiences, right? We all have the ups and downs of software development in teams, in companies that, you know, care or don't care. I get it. Okay, I gotta figure out what I'm trying to figure out is what is next. What do I move to once I've committed all this and got this merged? What do I actually move to? And I'm trying to figure out what the priority is. So these I need to see the detail because if I'm trying to work through this, if I'm trying to use these boards to grab details on, I need to be able to see um card detail. See was assigned. But so assignment is actually the second thing. Um I want to be able to do I want to click this and have the detail? I think I want to click it and the detail show similar to the others. Um click and detail panel shows. It's not going to be in edit mode though. Edit mode is going to be that'll test the idea of these having extra pieces versus these being access usable for taskless. Because again, I don't want to go too granular. Because again, I'm yeah. Click and detail panel shows. I think that's a priority, so we can see what we're talking about. Um, I want to try something. App task card. Oh, there is a shadow there. There's no shadow there, is there? Hey, important guy, how you doing? I would have dropped into chat, Discord, but I'm doing this, so I apologize. I just want to see if that shadow stands out more. Oh yeah, there's a line under there, but it doesn't look very good, does it? um, uh, tailwind, drop shadow, black background. Okay. Drop shadow. I'm just trying to see if there's a, yeah, drop shadows don't really work on. Oh, because it's drop shadow, not shadow. Can't tell whether they pop on more. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Messing around. Okay. Loki, buddy, you are going to have to get off my lap in a minute because my legs are going to sleep. Um, yeah, yeah. It's a good morning so far. So clicking detail panel shows we need to be able to see the details of the card. Need to be able to see the details of the task. Um, um, should show title, requirements, content. Um, the sprint doesn't matter. Ultimately, we'll put comments and stuff in that panel. We do need to be able to assign a user to a task. Yeah. What I've got to be careful of with this is I've got to be careful I do not overload um, the behaviors in it. Because again, the idea of this system is not to be complicated. It's meant to be, hey, developers, you want to get on with the coding? Here's the coding. You know, there's but there's the management components, right? There's the pieces that management need. So when we get to pointing, when we get to those things, we're going to need to do them. But yeah. So what I'm what I'm trying to do with Liquid Sky so far is I'm trying to get to a point where I can use it on a day to day to do the tasks that I'm doing. So when I can say I am comfortable with the workflow of create the planning item, dictate what needs to be done, then set the tasks out for that thing. When that workflow is smoother, not necessarily perfect, but smoother, I can work through the job in the sprint. At that point, I believe the app is in a good enough shape to start using it. Um, then we kind of talk about what comes next and maybe get it deployed. Also, plan out developers.stream because that's a key thing I want to tackle. But I'm going to be right back because I need to get rid of this dog off my lap. Otherwise, my hips are going to be in pain all day. So I will be right back and then I will get on with finishing this up and stop talking. Oh, you are the guy from chat. Hi, Dana Cries. How you doing? I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. And all I can stand, I can't stand no more. That's the other painful words in the stream description. Okay. Yeah. So I do not do the game dev. I'm not that smart. I am doing this. So what I'm working on right now is trying to figure out what. And thank you very much for the raid, Dan. I am very sorry. I only see that chat window because as much as I was praising Jules streaming before, Restream refuses to connect to Twitch, to YouTube. Yeah, that was fun. Just realized I was hearing myself through your stream. So what I'm working on right now is we just finished up getting the UI working roughly for the sprint starting. So interesting, sprint is available. That shouldn't show, but whatever. So we're gonna get we're building sprints. We're able to set the start and end date. We can assign the work to them. They're ready for development, in progress, and complete. No custom stages yet. And now we're moving towards trying to make this more usable, right? Once you add a task to a sprint, it disappears from the backlog. But once you add a task to a sprint, the description's gone. So any content I added here was completely useless, right? I had to look at the database to see it. So the next step is to add a panel that floats out here, displays the details of that card, and starts to build out the usability of this. I'm thinking what I want to do is make this smaller and all over to the right, so it kind of sits nice at the top of the screen. But I do not want to mess with the UI. Hey Jay, how's it going? Whoa, you made so much progress since I last checked in. Yeah, yeah. So we have the planning items. We can set up work. We can assign requirements. For a requirement, you can add a task. Actually, we're about to do this, so I might as well go through it, right? So let's go back to tasks. Let's create a sprint, and this is task details. Now, I'm creating sprints for the jobs that I'm about to do, just to practice the workflow. You wouldn't create a sprint for a task. I want to do the beta when you start letting people in. Just picked up some new client work. Nice, nice. Congrats. So we're going to start on the 29th at 8 a.m. No, 2024, 9:80, 8 a.m. And we're going to finish on Halloween. There you go. Time estimates are bad, right? So let's create our sprint. Okay. Task details. So there's our sprint ready. Let's go to our planning. And actually, let's go back there to sprints. We need to complete this one. Complete that sprint. So there's our sprint done. I don't think it did. I think there's I think I've got some more tidy up to do there, but we'll pretend it is. So this planning item now, all its tasks are completed. 3, 3, 1. We can move that to completed. Now, like I said before, now I'm going through this workflow. It's allowing me to see some of the challenges, right? So if a planning item's tasks are all completed, should the planning item complete itself? No, I don't think it should, because it's up for the product manager to determine that. However, we should think about the view. Like, oh, by the way, all the work for this planning item has been completed. You might want to review it because now it's ready for testing or whatever, ready for UAT. By virtue of all the tasks being done, right? It should be ready for UAT. So that's I don't think it sits in this workflow once it goes into in progress. I don't think it works in this workflow anymore. But we'll figure that out. Detail on sprint board cards. As a developer, it's useful to be able to see more information on the card in sprint board. That's the goal, right? I said yesterday, basically what's description right now, I don't think ends up as description. I think there's a title, but I think this becomes goal over description and potentially expectation. But requirements are really what outlines this. So the requirements are closer to the actual stories. So view detail on click. When, as a developer, like fix that flashing. Oh, I did start looking to see if there was any UI UX experts that could. What I wanted to do is I wanted to see, go on Fiverr somewhere, try and see what sort of pricing there was on maybe getting someone to do kind of a workup on the beginnings of the app. Like, give me an idea of how you work, basically. Because I really want to find someone, and I can't afford thousands and thousands of dollars to put into the application to do that. So I figured if I started with Fiverr, see if I could get some ideas, and then see if there's someone I could work with to do a version. It would at least give me an idea of what that workflow looks like. Greetings from Detroit. How are you doing this morning? Doing good. Why are you in Detroit? Sorry, never mind. Hope you're well, Patrick. You're for a job interview or visiting? Never been to Detroit. Ah, Utah. Nice. Um, as a developer, when looking at the sprint board, I want to be able to see. Nice. Well, may your travels be very safe. I appreciate you coming, hanging out for a little bit. As a developer, when looking at the sprint board, I want to be able to see the details of the task. And as always, if you've got thoughts, questions, opinions on this, you want to see more, you want to ask anything, please feel free. Like asking questions and challenging me on some of the designs or challenging me on some of the ideas is how I'm going to validate this, right? This tool is starting to turn into something that is actually usable, right? And it's the problem when you are working on your own on a project is you are working in a vacuum. I am the designer, I am the developer, I am the product manager, I am the owner. I am every worst component in the entire cycle of a project, all wrapped up into one. That's why streaming it is a useful thing to do as well, because I'm not only just developing this. It is something I would like to make your lives easier, right? As a developer, as a product manager, whoever's watching this, right? I would like to say my tool can help you plan a project. Um, um, so yeah, if you have ideas, and I'm not looking to farm ideas, by the way. When I'm asking that, I mean literally just if you have like, oh well, that doesn't read right, or why are you doing that, or what does that make? If you need testers, I'd be down to help. Oh, so as I said before, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get to the point where I'm confident that the workflows are allowing me to develop the software. Once I'm confident in that, what I want to do is switch my focus to deployment. And Mojo and I have discussed this about deployment, and then open it up for people to log in and definitely give it a test and use it. So what I do is I deploy it to a Kubernetes cluster here, get it all set up, and yeah, you guys can have some fun with it. So lots to do still, lots to do. When I click the card, the side of the screen. So this is a pattern I've established. This is something I'm already doing, right? When I click on one of these cards come out. I don't think it's a breakaway. It kind of gets the idea in there. When I click the card, the right-hand side of the screen should shift. And again, I'm not focused on... Oh, gotta go. Looks like bonus died earlier than I thought. I always forget where the tickets from local time. Radio Patrick, safe journey. Thank you very much for stopping by. Have a great flight and see you again soon. And best of luck if you don't see you before the interview. It'll be many hours. You'll be hours behind, I would imagine. You will not be attending tomorrow. So good luck with the interview. The right side of the screen should shift. And I should see the I should see card title, card, task title, task description. That's it right now, right? Card title and description. Right. So in this instance, this one, ready for planning. We're planning it, right? Again, I'm the worst possible user of this, right? Or the worst possible person to be making decisions because I am everybody all in one. So we have the detail. Is there anything else about detail and sprint board cards that I need? Right. This is one of those instances where this might actually just be a story, and what this process does is add a lot more overhead. So introduce panel layout. Introduce panel layout for board. Add detail display. Read only. Break screen up to panel. As with tasks and planning items. Now on tasks, we have the funny refresh, which is still annoying me. I don't know what I did differently there, so I've still got to figure that out. There's something I'm doing differently in that whether I'm using signals or I'm not using signals and I should be using signals, or I'm doing something but I get weird flashes on the task screen, but I don't get them on the details on the planning items here. When clicking task, show details. Now, should that be toggleable? I should be able to hide the card when I'm done. If I click another task, I should be able to see that task details. I should be able to see all tasks on the board when the detail is shown. So some of this is going to be the scaling, right? So a lot of this is UI, but some of this is going to be the scaling. And the reason I'm just saying that, you know, again, these aren't technical implementations, but over on the other side, so let's say that's in progress now, right? Detail on sprint board cards. Let's go to tasks. Let's go here. Detail on sprint board cards. Assign sprint task details. So, oh no! What are you doing? Eventual consistency. I didn't update this. I've got a bug. I didn't update the sprint when I assigned the card. So 1 second. So what happened there was when I go here, this card, I've updated the card to say it's attached to the sprint, but I haven't updated the data store. So when I move to the screen, that's not there until the server comes and says, "Oh, by the way, you're updated now," and then that pulls this version of it. So obviously now I can't see the information on that, which is kind of why I was like, and I can't remove the sprint from it. So we need to go back to planning. We need to go here. Let's create a new. The backlog should not show completed work. That's done. Developer visibility of planning. Concept of business value should be represented on. Yeah, business value and concept of priority. These are the two concepts I'm talking about. So the goal is actually the business value, like the why. The why you are doing something can oftentimes help as to the how, right? You can kind of get that focus, you know why you're doing something. But anyway, that's not what I was coming back in here for. I need to track. I need to track something. Should be able to remove task from sprint. There's another thing there. So yesterday we implemented this behavior on the server. So we know that this is already handled. So we can implement this from a process perspective. Now, when you get into those sorts of actions, though, it gets a bit weird because of verbs. If I'm aligning to verbs or not, still got to decide. Tasks. So that should work. So when I no, not that one. Boards, backlog, task detail, set value. We call it update. And it has a sprint on it. Huh. BB, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. Oh, Dino Cries, my apologies. Thank you very much for the follow. I very much appreciate that. I do. I was more focused on getting the use of my legs back than I was. Funny thing is, my knee is working. Loki was helping my knee. This detail. Okay, let's get this committed. Show date on sprint dashboard. So that isn't what I thought it was. Yeah, I cast that whole, yeah. I was walking and wasn't hurting very much, which is first time in 3 weeks. You know, now I've had the X-ray and I'm going to get sent for an MRI. Um, yeah. So the task is updated, but I have challenges with the eventual consistency to overcome. We need to kind of figure out what the design looks like from the client side. What does it look like to do this? Now, again, sprint is available. Testing sprint flow. So that other sprint did complete, which is good. One of the benefits of doing doing things the way I'm doing on this side is when it comes time to add metrics to the system, when it comes time to add like insights, like number of sprints closed, number of sprints added, I can put interceptors, I can put behaviors around all of these things and record them. So I can introduce, because of the way the system events, I can introduce a mediator behavior that looks for events or notifications, etc., and then streams them out to open telemetry, so I can know how many events are being closed. I can know sprints are being closed. I can know how many tasks are being added. How many, as long as I start to enrich the event system, I really can uh, use that facility in additional ways that, you know, traditionally you would have to go in and change the code and say, oh well, I'm adding a sprint, I'm creating a sprint, I'm closing a sprint. Let's go and add the metrics in there. Using the eventing does allow me to do that. So we will be, open telemetry is definitely on the list of projects to look at. And I'd be interested if you're new to the stream and you have questions about what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, why I'm doing it, feel free. I do want to make sure the stream is open to discussion. This code is not open source, right? It is way too big to be open source at this point. And I'm not trying to blow my own horn there. I'm just saying that it is a unwieldy hunk of code because of the just pure size of it at this point. So, but if you are interested and you want to know more, I'm more than happy to talk about it. There's also Discord if you have further questions, if you want to see chunks of the code. Yeah. And also, I was saying it at the beginning of the stream, but I'll repeat it again. I'm contemplating going through and building out a video on how I get the events to publish and how those flow, and using the libraries that I've got. So I'd be interested to know if anyone has any interest in knowing more details there and would like a video focused on that. I'm a big fan of not making videos unless people actually find the need. I don't feel that just because I stream makes any of the content usable afterwards. Well, kind of going through, how do I build the API? How does the API send a command? How does the command trigger an event? How does all that hook up? Kind of build out a simple workflow. It's some hard book reading one. Is that a compliment on my voice, or is that a because you're not the first person this week to have said that. But anyway, if now I'm distracted. If there's interest in how I build the events, how I get to the events and how they publish and what they do for the system, I'd definitely be happy to try and make a video around that thing, or a series around that thing, because I think it might be a few videos, but I plan it out. Yes, I have a few that way this week. Anyway, okay, everything's pushed. So let's go and get the let's go and get that PR done. Parent pull request. So again, these are getting too big. These tasks are way too big. Unit tests are failing. That's not good. Let's make sure that that's. Oh, I know why unit tests are failing. They should pass on my machine though, which is fine for now. They don't pass on the machine, we fix them on the machine, but we're up to 333 unit tests, which is terrible considering the size of the application, but better than nothing. Okay. So the reason it's failing here is because of the GitHub action. Because we rely upon the foundation library, which is the shared kernel of the stack. This piece is failing because it's looking for a branch of the same name, so I'm okay with that. Let's do a quick review. Database status, sprint start, sprint computed, yeah, sprint write. I wrote the code. I've been using it for days. I'm not panicked about it being particularly wrong. Task module, complete sprint. Yep. Validation message, probably not going to be around for very long. The date and time, the board, the task card, sprint select. Update sprint status, publish integration, remove sprint from incomplete tasks, publish integration, publish integration. Yeah, remove sprint, sprint. That's the logic around sprint. Yep. Sprint is open. We've got a few tests that we need to do those tests. But again, Mojo, good morning. How are you doing? Squash and merge. Confirm squash and merge. Delete the branch. Okay. Feature, stats and sprints, development, checkout. Update. So all for, newcomers to stream, all videos, all past content is streamed to YouTube as well. So I do stream to YouTube. For those watching on YouTube, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Welcome in. The past 163 videos on this project are all available up on YouTube. I do stream a lot of the development, not all of it. There's some parts where, big changes appear over a weekend or something like that because I do work on it on my weekends. But you can catch up there if you want to. But again, if you have any questions, thoughts, opinions as I'm going through, you want to know more about the project, you want to ask you know, about technologies, I am always open. So, hold on. Let's see. Let's make sure everything runs properly. I didn't just lose everything. And things are working. Because I know me, because I am very disorganized, is why I delete the branches almost immediately after I've merged them. Yes, they could stay there, but I am a big fan of doing something and not panicking about potential consequences. So if if someone says, "Oh, what if you remove that code and it breaks?" Or what if you remove that code and it doesn't work, whatever. Um, oh well, I'll have to fix it again, right? That's a genuine attitude that I take towards things. So I'm not second guessing myself. I'm not in my own way. Um, it's not cavalier in an approach. It's more just I do not want to have doubt left out there. So I'm a big fan of removing commented out code. I'm a big fan of um, making sure we do things properly. Okay, let's see this load. There we go. Let's go here. Sprint is available. Start sprint. Oh yeah, we need to fix that. Uh, yeah, you missed the stream. Okay, sprint is available. Complete the sprint. Sprint is scheduled to end on Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. No issue. Wish to complete it now. Yes. Task details. Okay. So we give that a second to go through. Um, future ideas. Notification trimming for outboxes. So these two tables here, these are outboxes maintained by the relevant services. Yeah. Not even gonna go there, Marjo. Um, I really wish Restream would work properly because the problem is with chat the way it is, Restream isn't doing. Is it actually putting chat up on the window? No, Restream isn't even loading, is it? The hotfix git graph didn't hit as hard as I thought it would do. Settings, embedding stream, embed chat. Let me just see if this coding display. There you go, that helps. Right? Is that working now? No, because that won't do that transition. There you go. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. It just dawned on me that Restream isn't streaming messages to YouTube. YouTube isn't. I don't think if I chat in YouTube, it comes across here. No one's chatting YouTube today, so no, it doesn't. So it's just So close if it just worked. Anyway, trimming these. These tables are going to be the entire event history. These are all the things that happened in the system and all the integration events that published. Realistically, once an integration event publishes for an item that's already published, there's no need for it to have past integration events. That being said, trimming these things down is not something you want to take lightly, because you might want to archive them. There's all sorts of it, especially integration events, right? Because these are actually states of the entities, so you can actually see what changed and when. So, but we are going to have to figure out the notification at once. This is internal. This is domain events. This doesn't necessarily matter. But yeah. So let's get. So we're confident that's working. So let's go and move this over to here. So Mojo, from a planning perspective, what I'm trying to do is get this to a point where it's usable. I think you said yesterday you're going to check it out and see if you can get it to dog fooding. But what I'm trying to do is get this to the point where when I click on this now, we see the panel so we can see the details, and it starts to become a lot more usable, right? Once we can actually use the task. And then assignment is the other thing. I mean, assignment doesn't really matter for us. We could dog food it because, again, we'll be working independently, Control Tower and Liquid Sky, but it would be, assignment would be good to be able to see that. We're getting to a whole realm of user profile and all those sorts of fun things. So we might have to do a mind map exercise, a bit of an event storm thing. Because I'm starting to run away with ideas now, and there's no way I'm tracking them all. Okay, so anyway, this now should be task details. That's good. Okay, let's start. No, I don't need to stop anything. New branch. So I think that's the one that says execute that, but I don't want to split. Yeah, right now. Also, IDs are useful, aren't they? We probably need to have a number, a task number on these. Feature. Yeah, I get that, but I'm talking a more focused discussion around actually brain dumping and then turning immediately around and doing the planning on it. Defining what is a good idea, what is a bad idea, what's useful, and then prioritizing based upon time. So we probably just need to take a couple of hours and sit down and do a big brain dump. Probably a weekend works better for that one than a evening though. A big brain dump. Feature. Panel layout. Task detail on sprint board. Okay, so we can leave the app running because everything we're about to do is all client side. We've got all the data we need. We've got all the queries we need. We do not need to do anything server side for this piece. Okay, so sorry, I've got ridiculous heartburn or reflux, whatever. So if I keep squinting, it's just that. Okay. Um, boards component. So I think the sprint board is the thing that's split. And oh, that reminds me. Thank you online for the shout outs. I do appreciate it. I'm because you've got such a great description. I'm not even diverting to the shout outs, but it is I do owe the descriptions, you know. Um, but the Thindle is very worth checking out. If you haven't checked Thindle out, and Mojo, and Emporium Guy, I want to. So many things to do. Once Liquid Sky is at the point where we can say we can plan with it, what we're going to do is we're going to create a project called developers.stream. I'm going to do it in GitHub as an open source project. Um, so it will accept contributions. We can work on it together. I'm going to plan it in Liquid Sky initially just to explain the workflow and to test the workflow. But then we're going to put all those issues into GitHub. I'll build the core of it out. But the idea is Liquid Sky is a platform for, and I have a domain set up, but we'll share the code for it. Liquid Sky is a platform for helping promote other developers who stream, whether YouTube or Twitch. The goal will be to create a repository that you can go and you can say, I want to find out about game programming. I want to find about Unity or Godot, or I want to find about C Sharp or Perl or whatever. And people can add their tags. What I want people to be able to do is log in. So we'll probably open up the ability to log in as Twitch or YouTube if I can figure that out. And own their own stream in there. So they can register their details, they can add the description or whatever. It would require admins because obviously you want to validate those things. You don't want to just have someone's text go in there and then be offensive or, you know, TOS. I think, and this I've tried this before, and I think we got into a bit of a pickle as to when you own the data versus whatever. But anyway, the goal will be that we'll build the application so you can call it out, so you know promote that from your stream if you're in that list, and but then provide an API to allow you to look up people as they come in the stream to see if they are a streamer. You can then we'll figure out some way of allowing you to kind of auto shout out people, right? So maybe it's a developers.stream link, or maybe it's a Twitch link and a shout out that you do, but hook your bot in basically to an API. Hey, Canny, how you doing? I hope you're well. Did you solve your Twitch your auth problem? I have been thinking about that. I'll admit my brain is all over the place with all sorts of other stuff. Yeah. Yes, my day did just start. Yes. And yes, I am. But I've got a lot of yeah. Um, but you had a dependency issue with your architecture. Did you come up with a solution for that? Are you still figuring that out? Do you have any more details? Um, yeah, so the goal would be you could hook your bot in, get provide an API against developers.stream so that when people join your stream, you can ask the um, you can ask the developers.stream API if they are a streamer, and if they are, you can give them a shout out, or you can use developers.stream shout out. Yeah, kind of saw it put in on the auth node and on the event sub node. Didn't put in uh, the token to the token free from creation. Okay. I'd be interested in the architecture diagram, like the workflow there, like which piece owns what and who needs what. Yeah. Okay, let's get this. So this screen, this is the board right now. Let's try and get views, dashboard. No, not dashboard. Initiatives, planning items, home. So that's how we do the detail on here. But we want the board, we want this to be. Why create swim lanes as a component? I think I end up creating, because I think the cleaner way to do this is to create swim lanes as a component. Yeah, I'd be interested because my biggest problem is you can describe stuff to me, but unless I can see code or I can see a picture of how it's working, it's like it's not always very clear. And I was thinking about it, but I just didn't get enough time. So what I'm working on right now is I am working on, when you click on one of these, we should see a detail panel pop out and show the information for the card. So obviously this should scale, etc. Making this piece more useful. Because right now, once you actually click in here, or once you drag something into a sprint, it's it's done. Uh, Also, I am thinking of doing something Jira like in terms of putting the open sprints up here, but the open sprints would have to be per team, so that's not. Uh, yeah. So can I do? Um, Sorry, I'm just checking something. Nice handwriting. Nice. That's interesting. So the project work there. So I'm just testing something because no, I don't get YouTube. How's planning remotes and drawings? Wow, that's impressive. Just using a touchpad. Okay. Distracted. So if I want to do this, then technically, um, this piece, oh no, this piece is its own component because now, oh dear, components, new, come on, component, swim lanes. It's one of those things where you hope that you don't find out that you've been calling them swim lanes all this time, and actually there's a um, an actual name for them, and you've been using the wrong thing all along. Yeah. Yeah, swim lanes. I wish I could say that I can do tests in the client, but I just cannot right this second. So um okay, let's go here. Let's paste that all in here. Okay. So then we're gonna have sprint is an import dot required of a sprint. That's contradictory. That can't be, it can't be required and not required at the same time. That's not going to do that. So then this is going to be if sprint, then that is sprint. All right, so we need swim lanes at least from here. So swim lanes are going to be there. Swim lane source. I think I created that. Yep, that's all in line. So that's interesting. That is very interesting that I did that, but we need the store. For right this second, let's go and assume that we need it in both places, but we'll figure that out in a second. let's worry about these. So these clearly end up in here, right? Because they're drag and drop, which means that current drag target also lives in here. Message service. Constructor. And then remove messages after. This no longer needs message service, so that's fine. Actually, I can remove the entire constructor. We can remove that. We can remove that. Got to figure out that there's a way of doing that. To make that a more standard thing. Okay, so we have that. Export task card component is out of scope. Task card component is in there. Oh, because this is set as standalone. I'm an idiot. And then we need to go to. I keep saying that I'm an idiot. It's not. By default, Angular wants to move you towards standalone components. So the template creates a standalone component. I forget about it every time that I include all the references into that standalone component. I've yet to figure out what the right. So what that tells me is that I am not building idiomatic Angular in the newest way. I'm not designing the application in a way that it probably should be designed. However, I don't know another way right this second, and I don't have any Angular experts that have said, you're doing it wrong, or that's terrible, here's how to do it. I'm also not a big fan of going chasing that sort of stuff because in reality, you know, as is my way, if I'm comfortable building the application, I can change the application. Ripping a component out into another screen, that might not be the normal way people go to this. They might actually go, oh, well, I'll go and just make all the modifications in this one component because it makes sense, right? What I've done is I've just split up the behaviors, right? Now this is responsible for displaying the swim lanes. I can now use these swim lanes elsewhere. Important guy is going to be an NG Pro soon. Or a raging fireball of anti-angular dislike. But again, I'm building an application. I understand the code I'm building. I understand how I'm building it. That's more important uh, than anything else. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if sprint dot selected, right? Then we're going to put that in there, and that's going to be app swim lanes. And for right now, this is going to be it's going to be hidden because we don't have any concept of it. Actually, no, we need something there. Sprint is going to be sprint dot selected. And then div detail. No, can't do that. We need an actual detail panel. Ah, okay. That's why. Okay. Swim lanes. Yeah, I gotta say, it won't be null. That's the weird thing. Um, so we are going to do task. So task detail in here is not the same as task detail elsewhere. So we're going to create a different task detail. New schematic component task detail. Skip tests because I don't want to skip. I don't want tests. Now this is a read-only component. What we're going to end up doing here is we're going to have to rejig things because again, task detail, the one that has the editability is here, right, in backlog, but the one that has the display is here in this. So, bool is visible boolean equals false, bare minimum. So sprint board div. What am I doing? Okay, I just did the same thing again, right? If I leave that there, that's going to be a problem. So we need task detail, tasks detail, task. What? How did I get? Oh, oosh. I was going to sneeze. Sorry. So our sprint board is going to have. I got to be careful. I don't alt enter here. App task detail. Not only do I have a naming collision, I have a problem there. Okay. So then we need show and hide. And then in here, we need to create a method. Actually, do I need to create a method? Is that part of my problem? I don't need to do that. I just need to do detail dot show. Oh, but I do need an event on swim lanes that is on detail opened. Beat the bugs out of the code. Is an event emitter of task. New event emitter. That's why I need a method as well. So on detail opened on the swim lanes. Yeah, this needs a click. Show detail. Event. I don't know which task I'm on. Yeah. Let's do the Vista on detail open dot emit as task. Detail opened. Right, that's that, right? Oh, I know what it is. Sorry, I was rather excitable. It's an output. You need to specify it as being an output. It's something that will change. It will output stuff. So that's there. But now we need to do event detail.show. I think that's wrong. We'll get there. So the challenge I'm facing with the Angular stuff right now is I have these modules, I have components under the modules, but then I have other modules that need them, and I'm starting to get this. So I have shared. So if something exists in planning and in tasks, then it goes to shared. So tasks exist in shared, not in tasks. And now I have two forms of detail. So my structuring doesn't make a lot of sense, and I'm starting to feel that pain. Something like this, yeah, that's in shared models. Let's see. Let's see how it goes. Now, is the screen loaded? Is the first question. It is loaded. Do we have the event? That's the next question. Details show. Past details. No. Do we have an error? No. Do we click anything? Debugger. So, yeah. Object is possibly null. Swim lanes component. So it's complaining about that. I mean, it's not possibly null because I've checked to see if it's not null up there, right? But we'll see. Event. So the challenge we have here is we don't know which task we just clicked on. But there we go. We got the thing, and it narrowed this already. So, and task detail was. I mean, it's going to be offset, but that's going to be okay. Does this belong? Does this information belong elsewhere? I think it might. I think this might actually go on the sprint board. It can go there. Sprint dot selected. Sorcery. Yeah. How do I describe Sorcerer's game? It's kind of a term. It's a tactical RPG base builder. She's been building the houses stuff out recently. I don't get to attend Sorcerer Stream. Well, I get to hang out in Sorcerer Stream. I just don't get to interact with Sorcerer Stream as much as I used to. But I do go in there, and it is a really great place to be. She's such a smart person developing an awesome game. It looks cool. The mechanics are cool. Like the amount of effort that has gone into that game is incredible, and it's looking better by the stream. Sorry, I'm sniffling as well. So that fits better, but we now need to know. How will we know which task we clicked on? Oh, door. Let's do it that way. Let's do task ID. Bring. Let's make that. Let's not pass the task around. Let's pass an ID, and we can go and request the. That way, in here, that can be ID string. We need the store anyway. Read only store equals inject tasks store. Swim lanes component. Click. Argument of type. Yeah, but I'm not doing that, am I? There we go. Okay. Okay, we got task detail working. Now on task detail, we're going to this.store load detail for ID dot then task if task. Okay, and then we need div h4 task dot title. Morning, Napalm. How's it going? Div task. And then we need markdown data equals task description. There we go. So we can click on that, click on that, click on that. There you go. I know what I'm doing. Living the dream. Living the dream. Yep. That's pretty much what we're doing here. Let's assign some more cards so we can see that work. Let's assign that to testing sprint flow. The flashing, like this is driving me nuts that it flashes and I don't know why. Let's see what this one looks like now when we do it. So sprint testing flow. Is that? You see the flash, right? But this, the initial flash, I've decided to leave programming in favor of working outside our office space. I think the longer I'm doing this, I really do. I do want to I would love to do this as a hobby. Spend 4 to 6 hours a day doing this, and then like run a coffee shop or something. Or even run a coffee shop and do this with a coffee shop in the background. Like I think about the point where you start off developing as you're developing as a kid, but when you're starting on programming, it's I mean, for me, it was at least this exciting journey of, oh, I can do really cool things. I can make things. I can do things, and everything's possible. Then you start working. And I mean, I suppose the people that have more drive, the people who have gone out and developed their own products and stuff, have a different journey, right? But for the most of us that have to go into the workplace as an employee of somebody else, as working on other people's platforms and software, the reality sets in of you have little to no control. You have, and I'm not being depressing in that. I'm just saying it's the reality of doing what we do, right? We have to work for somebody else. That's the thing. Um, Got to figure out how to make that a standard thing. So yeah, it's just the way it is. I'm not trying to be depressing about it, but I'm like, oh, I see that looks awful. P4. Do we though? Do we what though? That's going to drive me crazy. That step is going to drive me crazy. We also need to hide that when we switch boards. Need to work for someone else. Yeah, what Abraham said. Basically, working for yourself, having to do that yourself, is a step. And again, because of you know, your confidence, your abilities, how people will treat you. If you are going into the workplace, I doubt very many people start off as consultants, right? And you are consulting now, but you're not writing your software. You're working for somebody else. You're just doing it as a contractor. So you're working for someone else in a different way. You're your own boss in that you can choose to ignore the content and suffer the risk, but you are essentially working for someone else. Um, PX. Right. And I would love to do that, right? I would love to be able to say, yeah, I can develop my own software. And like, imagine building this for a living. It would be awesome. Like, if Liquid Sky took off tomorrow and was actually a thing, I would continue to stream it. 100% would continue to stream it. All the development would continually stream from my perspective. If it was a thing and it was an actual product, the chances of me doing a lot of the development is pretty slim as time goes by, right? But it's a nice idea. Also, that needs a cursor. We need a ng class So I think the sentiment might be that at least up front, to gain experience, knowledge, and capital, the typical approach is to work for someone else where they decide the products and technologies for the most part. Yeah. Oh, did that drag zone go? Oh, the drag zone went away. That's not good. I feel like a lot of programs have lofty dreams of working for themselves and have some idea to tell to the world. It all sounds achievable, and for some it is. Life is hard though. Not trying to discourage anyone. I definitely think if you have an ambition, going for it is a good idea. Um, I've been watching. I get all sorts of random stuff on YouTube, but I don't know if you've heard of Edison trucks. They're in Canada. They're building electric vehicles. Um, and his approach to the business is he will only. There's no debt. They only buy what they can sell, and they build on demand, so that then they can adapt and change to the requirements as they need. I thought that was an interesting take, considering like he's not rushing to the market to get or they aren't rushing to a market to get a product out there, but they are trying hard and going all in on trying to make this thing work, and it's interesting. Um, the approach. So the reason I said that is Liquid Sky. Like I don't want to rush to market and get this to a product. I do want to make it a product. It would be nice to do that. Um, but then I have days where I'm questioning: is it because I'm lacking ambition, or I'm lacking confidence, or am I lacking something else? And I think we have a lot of ideas. Every developer I've ever known has a bunch of projects they want to do, and I've worked on several, and every one falls by the wayside because time and life get in the way. Being able to put everything to the side and work on that, and dedicate your life to that would be awesome, but it's not always achievable. So earning money, working for somebody else in one way or another is, you know, is a step, and then you've got to be careful you don't fall into it, right? You got to, well, unless you want to. If you are comfortable doing that, it's absolutely fine. There's no judgment there. It's just ideally, the way I started saying this was, you start in the beginning, you've got all these ideas and all this energy and all this wow, everything's possible when you start building stuff. Then you go and work for someone, and it kind of limits that a little bit. If you don't work for the right company, I mean, maybe I've not worked for the right companies overall in terms of encouraging my ambition and growth, or maybe that's for me to have done. But then as you go now, as I'm getting further on through the career, I want to go back to the energy part. I want that part more than anything, and I don't necessarily care if I do this as a job long term, because as a career path, it, it's fantastic. There's a lot of opportunities. And development does pay very well. Um, but you also lose some of that creative freedom if you're working for other people, because you've got to account for a product. You got to make you have to make the money. So sometimes what you think you want to do is not always um, sorry, um, is not always what you. That's what I want. Lucid icon. Div class equals call. No, class equals flex. I'm not sure that's going to do what I want it to do, but we'll see. Yeah. I'll do for now. That's not the right thing to do, by the way. Oh, yeah. So on change, backed. Changed. I'm not sure this is what I want to see. Because I think what's going to happen is that gets changed. We click that. If I drag that, it's going to get changed. Oh, no. No, the effect isn't there. This is it. It's time for me to go. Have a good stream. Dan, thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for the raid. It's good to see you back on Twitch, sir. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you again soon. Oh, it's 9:07. I was focused on finishing this up and not realizing. I just thought about the time. Okay. So, bar some minor cleanup, right? What I was trying to do there is see if I could understand when something changed that, like, if I selected the drop down, would this fire? And it isn't firing because the effect is. I'm still learning about the effect. It's when you have signals and stuff. Like this should, to me, that should have triggered an effect. So I've got to learn more about the concept of signals in Angular. But basically, what I want to do is when I change this, if I change this drop down now, this panel should hide, right? Now they're disconnected components. So how do I do that? Well, you know, yeah, that's for me to figure out how to do that, right? But overall, the idea is that. So we can now see the detail. So as we work on a task, we can actually see what we're meant to do. We can go off and do that. And it's scaled okay. It's not perfect. It's by far perfect. Yeah. But we're getting there, right? Okay. Time for a raid. That game. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for being such an awesome mod. Thank you for the shout outs and everything that is helping me. I know you appreciate how much that's helping me. But thank you. Don't want to raid. Oh, it's gone anyway. Let's raid the Captain Coda. We haven't raided the Captain Coda in a while. I'm going to do that. So I'll be back tomorrow. I will get some more planning done, because I think there's a few more things we need to do in here. User assignments and things like that. Things we identified today that are removing the sprint, removing the task, dropping it back in the backlog. Also, those drop zones need to reappear, right? So that's a thing. And yeah, we can make some more progress tomorrow. See how it goes. And yeah. So thank you very much for joining me. Let's go read Captain Coda. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. Take care all.